the knowledge of the self. That is what is told here. And this knowledge comes from mouth to mouth, from the master to the disciple. So that is why we have to keep our ears in a proper manner. We should hear something which is good for us. That is what this Shanti mantra is prescribing to us. Bhadrang karnebhi shruniyama devaha. O gods, let us together listen to something which is good. It is not that only when I come to these discourses and the classes, or when I am chanting the mantra, I will be listening only to the good things. It includes everything. Every day we should be very conscious about what we listen. Otherwise, suddenly coming and doing the upasanas for a few hours will not help us. So the journey in the spiritual path, especially in the journey towards the Vedantic path, is always we should be very, very alert in listening, what we are listening, what we are seeing, what we are doing. Every action, every perception matters. That is why not only what we listen now, listen every day. Avoid something which is not conducive for our life of eternal journey. That is what this particular Shanti mantra prescribes. Bhadram Pashyema. Pashyema means it is in the plural. They are including the gods also. The gods are also not liberated. They are also enjoying the misery-less life. Ours is a life full of misery. That is why we want the knowledge more than them. But our rishis are including them also into the fold of the Shanti mantra, so that they also shall be eligible to get liberated. So the liberation comes through the teachings of the master. This is called the Guru Parampara. This is elucidated in this Upanishads. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhi Yajatraha Sthiraihi Angaihi. We should have the strong body, the proper body, healthy body. The body is also important to impart the knowledge. And with that, we shall have some longevity so that we can pursue the path of the knowledge. This is what is told in this Shanti mantra. After that, we had last time I had told the aspects of the other mantras also. Again and again I will not repeat the same thing. I will give the gist of what we had seen in the previous classes. First thing, the Upanishads tells about the Brahma. What are the aspects of the Brahma? It tells in the same different words, that is Akshara, Brahma, Satya, Purusha, Atma. All these names are nothing but the aspects of the Brahman. And what is the characteristic of this Brahman? It is our own Swarupa. Namma Olagina Swarupa. The internal, the most internal, that is called Dahara Akasha. In that Akasha, our real self remains. That aspect this Upanishad tells about. And how this word is created from this Akshara, which is unmanifested, how this manifested word came out into the different types of manifestations. How it is possible, which is nothing, to become everything. That is what is told in the other mantras, which is already covered. Yathornanabhi srujate grunhate cha. Just like a spider, you might have seen the spiders, which makes a thread and comes down and then swallows and goes up. That is how the spider moves. Then it constructs a big spider, a big web. And all these things, what are the ingredients that are coming? It is coming from its own body. Yathornanabhi srujate grunhate cha. So to construct anything, you need two things. One is the material and the maker. So without these two things, we cannot make anything. That is what commonly what we have seen. But how a same thing, one thing, that is Brahman, can make everything. You need another person to do something. One thing is the material, which is inert. Another thing is the Chaitanya. These two things are required separately to do anything, but this Upanishad is telling this is happening from that Brahman itself. The example is yathoda navis srujate grunhate cha. How there are two aspects in the creation. One is the nimitta karana, another is the upadana karana. Nimitta karana is the cause, the person who creates something, just like the pot. If you have the pot, the two things are required. One is the clay, the mud, and another is the potter, kumbara we call in Kannada. So these two things makes a pot. But here, the example is a classical example given by this Mundaka Upanishad, because the spider is creating the material as well as the thread from its own body. So the creator can have this capacity to create the material as well as to create the shapes of it. These two things are told how this world is created by the same Brahman. So from the Nirvikara Hiranyagarbha, the whole world of Akara has happened. So this Pratyagatma, which is indweller of everything, not only us, not only animals, in everything he is pervaded like this. He is pervaded and he is acting. Sometimes he is inert, he is static, sometimes he is moving. Everything is within that. So this Upanishad is a part of the Shruti, part of the Veda. This Vedas concluding, how they conclude themselves into that? They conclude in the knowledge of Brahman. Other than the knowledge of Brahman, Veda is not preaching anything other than that. That is why it is called the Tatparya, the end result, what we call normally as the bottom line. The bottom line is that the Vedas conclude that this word is nothing but Brahman. So Shruti Tatparya it is called. The conclusion of the Shruti is that everything is Brahman. So how this Jiva, the various things, comes from the same Brahman is just like the fire. When the fire is there, when it is lit, we can see the flints coming out of that. And we can see they are separated from the fire, but they have some fire, they have some heat, they have some light. Like that, we are created. The different entities are created from the same fire. The same fire goes up and same fire merges in itself. Yatha sudiptat pavakat vispulingat. That is also told in this Upanishads. Now, in this class, we will be going to dwell about the karma aspects of the Vedas. In the Veda, there are 4 parts, as I had already told you: Mantra, Brahmana, Samhita, Aranyaka. In the Aranyaka, ending portion is the Vedanta. Vedanta contains these Upanishads. Upanishads gives the knowledge of Brahman, which is the foundation of the Sanatana Dharma, which gives the liberation to adopt myself to the seeking of the knowledge. This only attracted these aspects of the Sanatana Dharma, that is seeking the knowledge in my own path, has attracted the whole world. That I will going to tell about when we come to the impact of these Upanishads in the Western world. In the Vedas itself, there are 2 sections that we call broadly into kandas. One is the Karma Kanda, another is the Jnana Kanda. Another is the Jnana Kanda. This Jnana Kanda is nothing but the knowledge of the Brahman. Karma Kanda is related to the actions through which we can attain something. That is also very important. This philosophy of the karma, how this karma leads to the emancipation, karma leads to the fulfillment, is told in one of the darshanas called Mimamsa Darshana. There are such darshanas, I think you people all know. In the Saddarshanas, Sankhya, Mimamsa, Vedanta, and Nyaya, Vaisheshika, and Charvaka. These are the Shad Darshanas. The important darshanas for us is Mimamsa, Sankhya, Vedanta, and Yoga. These are for the people who study always, because these are the things which directly gives us the path to the liberation. Another thing is a logic that is called Nyaya Vaisheshika, which also supplements to the analysis of the Vedantic the aspects, the Vedantic knowledge. It gives the logical reasoning way to understand the things. So Nyaya and grammar gives the supplementaries. Kanadam Paniniyancha Sarvashastropakarkam. Kanada is the logics developed by a Rishi called Kanada. Kanam Kanam Atti iti Kanadaha. They say that he was blind, but he contributed to the Indian materialism. Another person is the Panini, who gave the Vyakarana to this word. He is not the first grammarian. He was one of the modern grammarian, we can say. He is post-Vedic. Anyway, so these are the aspects that we should know, and this Mimamsa deals with how this karma kanda should be done to achieve something what is already guaranteed in the Veda. Because we are always stuck to something which gives us the results. Without results, without the fruits, we don't venture into any action. Suppose if somebody gives the appointment order and say that from tomorrow you have to come to the work, you will ask me how much you will give the pay, how much I will be paid for my efforts. If they say you need to ask that, you come and go, just do the action for the sake of action, you will not agree for that. This is not the characteristic, the habit that we have developed today. It is the habit when the human is born. That is why the Shastra itself says, Prayojanam anuddishya mandopi na pravartate. Without any results, without any guarantee that something will happen of my action for myself, we will not venture into that. So, this aspect the Vedas also knows, and they will goad you to do some action so that you will achieve something after leaving this body. You will go to some heaven. You will go to those lokas which are more pleasurable than the earth, because everyone knows that by the common experiences that the world is more miserable than what he gives the happiness. What our ದಾಸರುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೊದಲು ತೋರುತ್ತದೆ ವಿಷಯ ಸುಖ, ಕಡೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ದುಃಖ ಅನೇಕ. ಮಧುರ ವಿಷಯ ಸುಖ. It looks, very, very sweet. But in the end, they give lot of misery. So this is the common experience that the human being again and again experiences. Then he goes into the religion. He goes into some faiths. He follow it so that he will get rid of this, and then he can overcome the day-to-day miseries. Then also, all the paths of the religion will not give the self-knowledge and stand at one point. That is why the Vedanta is the best, and this is the supreme knowledge that is given. With Vedanta, if you supplement other paths, it will give the perfect step-by-step towards the supreme knowledge. That is why this is called the Krama Marga. This Krama Marga is also told in this Veda itself. So first, we are born with a tendency to do action. Without action, nobody is remaining. Even a lazy person has to breathe, has to take food, has to bathe. So there is nothing in this world without action. That is why in the Gita it is told that nahi kashchit kshanamapi jatus tishtatya karma krita karyate havashak karma sarva prakriti jair gunaihi. Prakriti jair gunaihi means Everybody is born out of this Prakriti. What is nature? Nature is nothing but the threefold characteristic of the human being. That is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. From the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, our mind is formed, our Chitta is formed, and this whole world is formed out of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. That is what the Sankhyan takes. This is the Sankhyan aspect. Sankhya aspect says that how this Prakriti is taken, this manifestation. So that is one thing. So now, when we have this aspect that we cannot live without karma, we have to elevate this karma to the higher level. That is why we should not sacrifice the karma itself. So before going into the aspects of Jnana Kanda, the Upanishad itself will teach you about the Karma Kanda. First, it will tell about the Karma Kanda. And it eulogizes the karma because in the initial stages, karma purifies the person, purifies every action. Yagno danas tapas karma natyajamiti chapare. That is what Shri Krishna says. Shri Krishna, in the 18th chapter of the Gita, you all know the Gita has 18 chapters. After teaching 17 chapters, Arjuna feels the whole Gita preaching seems to be concluding in the sannyasa. That means the extreme and complete renunciation of all the objects of this world. How you will renounce all the objects of the world? By sacrificing the desire for this world. This world is not at all giving anything to me, so I renounce this. The Mundaka Upanishad is also explicitly telling about the sannyasa itself. Because I have to repeat all the things again and again, I am not telling. Maybe the most of the audience are new, so they are wondering what I am telling. It is Mundaka means the shaven head person. Shaven head person means a sannyasi. So the sannyasi shaves their head, that is why it is called the Mundaka Upanishads. So Tyaga is told here. Tyaga means sacrifice the life and tread the path of knowledge, renouncing everything in this world. That is what is told. But the Gita is not that. Gita combines the aspects of the karma mainly, aspects of the bhakti, aspects of the jnana together. In spite of that, Arjuna is not a dumb disciple. He is a most intelligent person, a great person. That is why he was a Satpatra. To give this best knowledge, Arjuna was an eligible candidate to the Krishna. Yet, twice he gets this kind of doubt. First, once in the 3rd chapter, again in the concluding chapter also, Arjuna is raising the same question. In the 3rd chapter, Jayasi chet karmanaste yatha buddhir janardana tatkin karmani ghore mam niyojasi Keshava. Why he brought Arjuna to this center of the Kurukshetra and told all this? To make him to wage the war. He was retreating from the war. He told the highest knowledge of the Atman and also the aspects of the karma, why a person has to do karma. Everything was told in the 2nd chapter, and Krishna thought that further I need not to tell anything, he will wage the war. But he raised the question, Jayasi chet karmanaste. If you think that the actions are lower to the knowledge, renunciation is highest, then why you are asking me to wage this war? Wage this war in the sense that why should I do something in this world for us? Gita is not for only for the warriors. It is the manual for the people like us who are in the world. So that is a question. That question is answered. It's an elaborate thing. Now in the 18th chapter he is asking again, look here. Arjuna vacha sannyasasya mahabaho tattvamichhami veditam tyagasya cha hrishikesha prutakkeshi nishudana. So I want to know more about this sannyasa, more about the tyaga. This is what is running in our blood, no? We always like to renounce this word and go away. That is the nature of the Indians. That is why we respect that. We dream to renounce everything and go away. That is the very nature of the Mother India. Now, Sri Krishna gives the clear picture, clear understanding. Sannyasa should be understood properly. Karma should be understood properly. Karma jnana samuchaya should be understood properly. All these things should be understood properly before venturing into the knowledge of the Upanishads. So to ensure that, Mundaka Upanishad is also taking up the Karma Kanda. So what is Karma Kanda? What is Agni? All those things I will explain a little and little before entering into the actual mantras. First I will chant those mantras. It will give us the energy. Always we should chant the Vedic mantras directly, whether we will understand it or not. The mantra itself gives the energy. Because every mantras has the hidden energy, a secret energy. Even if you know the meaning, every meaning, with all the grammatical sutras, everything, even if you know the meaning, the rahasyartha, the secret meaning will not be revealed unless we are pure in the heart, unless we steadfastly move towards that. This steadfastness comes from the performer, came to the performers of the yajna who did steadfastly in their life. Agnihotris. What they will do? Morning one time they have to do Agnihotra. Evening one time they have to do Agnihotra. Other than the Agnikarya and Sandhya Vandana, which has to be done every day, Nitya Naimiktika Karmas, then there will be a special Agnis. If you do not perform those special Agnis, you will not get special things, which are guaranteed in the Veda. So whatever is guaranteed in the Veda are called the Bhavana. Bhavana is not something which we feel emotional feelings. It is not that. Bhavana is something which makes you to do that action. So to create that Bhavana and you to make that, to progress towards that, you need tremendous capacity and tenacity. Most of our children, you can see, the whole year they will not study. They will try to study in the end, grab something, and somehow try to clear the exams. We are born and brought up there, we will take the degree, and the same tendencies will continue. Daily we will not study, daily we will not prepare, and daily repetitions of the same thing, and to hold on to some goal, and working constantly lifetime to reach the goal. We will not do that. But for these people who have done these sacrifices, for them it is an habit. It has become a samskara, not only in this birth, they will carry it to the next birth also. That is why the Vedika people, the people who did these fires, who performed those fire sacrifices, were tremendously strong. Their generations also were tremendously strong. That is why Asaptalokat, that means to say for 7 generations that energy is carried. Because they will perform the Pitruruna. For the 3 generations they will do all the rituals, all these things for the sake of their forefathers also. Another 3 generations they will do for their children also. So when such lineage is there, such vamshas are there, the society will become naturally stronger, naturally powerful. That is why the aspect of giving up the action without performing the action properly is not advocated by Swami Vivekananda and also the Krishna in their teachings. That is how this Neo-Vedanta, it's called the practical Vedanta of the Swami Vivekananda, is becoming more and more universal, more and more inclusive. So before actual renunciation, complete renunciation, and shutting our doors of all the senses from the world and going totally internally deep, you should perform the action in the manner in which it is prescribed. This is called krama sannyasa. First, grihastha, take the fire, become a strong person mentally, not just physically. Tenacity you develop through performing the karma. Then you see plavahyete hidruda yajna rupaha. That's what is told in the Mundaka Upanishad here as a cutting point. The cleavage is developed between the karma kanda and jnana kanda. They will shift our mind from this action to the naishkarmya siddhi. Naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasena adhigacchati. In the end only Shri Krishna says. So it is an elaborate platform. Our shastras, thinking, contemplation, and our own findings. It's an elaborate platform. You must start dwelling into this. We should cut off our whatever we are doing. We should think whether I am doing fruitfully or not. Most of the people of you are not less occupied, retired. Now it is a time for you to do something for yourself, and the journey begins when you start seriously studying Upanishads. So Sri Krishna gives the answer in a different manner. He first draws the opinion of others before giving his own opinion. Hope at least some of you can directly understand what is told in the Sanskrit, because in the Gita the Sanskrit is more or less quite simple. Kamyanam karmananyasam sannyasam kavayo viduhu sarva karma palatyagam prahuhu tyagam vichakshanaha. See, some people say that giving up the desire itself is sannyasa. Giving up the desires, that means to say desires for the fruit of action. Fruit of action, I think you understand, results of action. This is again told in the 6th chapter. Most of the Shastras repeat the same thing here and there, here and there. Only we have to stitch everything together and contemplate on that. Shravana manana nididhyasana. First here, Bhadram karne vishnuyama devaha. First here. Then manana. Again and again, again and again. Try to think of it. It gives a different path. All these days we have taken the path which leads to only misery, only leads to problem, entanglement. We cannot come out of it. There is no energy to dictate the terms to the world. We have become so weak. Now when you take the other path, it gives the strength. It gives the hold on yourself, and it gives the hold in and around you. All this also are expected from ourselves, and required also to operate in this world. Without siddhi you cannot attain anything. But you should not use it for the lower desires. That is important. So develop the energy. All the scriptures, all these things, not only this jnana marga, karma marga, bhakti marga, everything gives us the energy. Once that energy is given, the buddhi gets awakened, we can understand this. Otherwise, it will be simply going above our head, or we will not take it, or it gets diluted. So he says that, look, we cannot sacrifice the karma itself, so sacrifice the desires. It is told, I have told this in the 6th chapter also. Anashritah karma palam karyam karma karotiyaha na sasanyasi cha yogi cha na cha niragnira chakriyaha. The person who has left the fire, the person who has left the job, they are not the sannyasins. What you have to do? You should not depend on the fruits of action. That's what is the sannyasa of Shri Krishna. So he is giving the two opinions. No, see, I am not totally telling that complete renunciation of the work is not sannyasa, but I am taking the two opinions. What is that? Sarva karma palatyagam prahutyagam vichakshanaha. That is the first opinion of mine. Kamyanam karmananyasam, whatever desires, like desires, I want to get some good, apartment somewhere in the posh area of Bangalore, something like that, or heavens, as told in the Karma Kanda. All these are comes under desires. So, one thing is, whatever is there, all the action I will renounce. I don't want any fruits, so I don't want any action. That is one path, as it is always the classical path of India. Another thing is, you will be working, either you will pass the fruits of action to others, or you will not use it. That is Seva Yoga, in a way. So this is what is the opinion. Other 2-3 slokas are there, I will not touch them. My opinion, now I will tell my opinion. That is told in the fourth sloka. If you want to note down, I can note down. 18.4. Nischayam shrunume tatra tyage bharata sattama tyago hi purusha vyagrah trivida samprakirtitaha. My opinion is, we should not give up the work. My opinion is, yajnadana tapakarma natyajam karyamevacha. Don't give up externally, give up internally. This is possible. This is quite possible when you are doing work for the sake of work. That is all told in the previous chapters of the Gita. Indriyasyarte ragadvesho vyavastito tayorna vashamagacche tauhyasya paripantino. The senses are the enemies for us. So keep these enemies separate from your mind. But don't let your indriyas itself to shut their doors. They must be active. Our body must be active. Our eye must be active. Our indriyas must be active. If you become dumb, if you become blind, you think that you are a great human being? No. The God has given all these things to use them, but they should not be used for our own misery. Our mind should not get corrupted by the eyes. Bhadram karne vishrunayama devaha, bhadram pashyema. So this is what you have to do. This is sannyasa. This is the important aspect. And important thing is, yajnadana tavah karma bhavanani cha purushaha. If you do these sacrifices, and as anga, as a part of the sacrifices, what there will be? There will be a dana. A person who is doing the Rajasuya or something like that, what he will do? Will he do only for himself? He will do give dakshinas to brahmanas. He will do annadana to whole city. All these things will happen. And in addition to that, there are upasanas in between. He has to get up and go and do some meditations. All these things will automatically happen. So, yajna, dana, tapak, karma, natyajam karyam evatate. What you have to sacrifice is not the spirit behind the work. What you have to sacrifice is the desires for the lower instincts. You should not feed them. You feed the higher values to the same mind without sacrificing the work. This is the important aspect that the Upanishads touch upon before embarking into the jnana aspect itself. So I will chant. You can close your eyes and just listen to the Upanishads. So wonderful, and we should be blessed to listen to the Upanishad shlokas, the mantras itself. Om Brahma Devanam Pratamas Sambhabhuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta Sabrahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham Atharvaya Jeshtaputraya Praha Atharvaneyam Pravadeta Brahma Atharvatam Purovachangire Brahma Vidyam Sabharadvajaya Satyavahaya Praha Bharadvaja Angirase Paravaram Shaunako Havai Mahashalaha Angirasam vidivat upasanna papracha kasmin bhagavo vignate sarvamidam vignatam bhavatiti tasmai sahovacha devidye veditavye itihasma yad brahma vido vadanti parachaiva paracha tatra pararugvedo yajurvedas samavedo tharvavedah शिक्षा कल्पो व्याकरणं निरुक्तं छन्दो ज्योतिषमिति अथ यया तदक्षरम् अधिगम्यते यत्तदद्रेश्यम् अग्राह्यम् अगोत्रमवर्णम् अचक्षुश्रोत्रं तदपाणिपादं नित्यं विभुं सर्वगतं सुसूक्ष्मं तदव्ययं यद्भूतयोनिं परिपश्यन्ति धीराः यतोर्णनाभिसृजते गृह्णते च यथा पृथिव्याम् ओषधयः सम्भवन्ति यथा सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि तथाक्षरात् सम्भवतीह विश्वं तपसा क्षीयते ब्रह्मा ततोऽन्नमभिजायते अन्नात् प्राणो मनस्सत्यं लोकाः कर्मसु चाखिलं यः सर्वज्ञः सर्ववित् यस्य ज्ञानमयं तपः तस्मादेतद्ब्रह्म नाम रूपमन्नं च जायते इति प्रथममुण्डके प्रथमखण्डः अथ द्वितीयखण्डः तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो यान्यपश्यन् तानि त्रेतायां बहुधा सन्ततानि तान्याचरत नियतं सत्यकामा एष वः पन्था सुकृतस्य लोके यदा लेलायते ह्यर्चिः समिद्धेहव्यवाहने तदाज्यभागावन्तरेण आहुतिः प्रतिपादयेत् यस्य अग्निहोत्रम् अदर्शम् अपूर्णमासम् अचातुर्मास्यम् अनाग्रेणम् अतिथिवर्जितं च आहुतं वैश्वदेवम् अविधिनाहुतम् आसप्तांस्तस्य लोकान् हि नास्ति काली कराली च मनोजवा च सुलोहिता या च सुधूम्रवर्णा स्फुलिङ्गिनी विश्वरुची च देवी लीलायमाना इति सप्तजिह्वाः एतेषु यश्चरते भ्राजमानेषु यथा कालं चाहुतयो ह्याददायन् तं नयन्ति एताः सूर्यस्य रश्मयो यत्र देवानां तत्पतिरेकोऽधिवासः ये ह्येहीति तमाहुतयः सुवर्चसः सूर्यस्य रश्मिभिः यजमानं वहन्ति प्रियां वाचम् वदन्त्यो अर्चयन्त्य एष वः पुण्यः सुकृतो ब्रह्मलोकः. This is the sixth mantra. Then it condemns this karma aspects itself, the karma kanda itself, all these agnis itself, plavahyate adruda yajnarupaha, as I had told you earlier. Now I will take up this second khanda. So the gist of the first khanda is the Shaunaka, Mahashalaha, Mahabrahmanaha. Mahabrahmanaha, Mahashalaha means those people in those earlier days, they were doing lot of sacrifices, lot of fire sacrifices. They used to do day and night. Those people becomes the adhikaris. What is the adhikara? The eligibility to pursue the knowledge of Brahman. There must be some steadfastness. There must be some commitment. There must be a continuation. The people should not be afraid of taking up any actions. And they must be having the idea of sacrifice. Yajna means the sacrificing. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi, Brahmagno, Brahmana. Everything giving up. Agnaye swaha, Agnaye idanna mama, idanna mama, idanna mama. That means to say that I am giving the oblation to you, O Agni, and whatever is left, that left out ghee will be there, or milk will be there. That you have to pour into another patra, Shesha patra. That means to say that even this is not mine. So the yajna teaches itself by its mantra, by its moods, that nothing is mine. Everything I am offering. So those people, such people, they, after developing some dissatisfaction with this work and all, they approach a master like Angirasa. Then the jignasa will be, what is this? What is this? All this going on, so many things. Dvaita, varieties, diversities. I want to know something which is unique. which stands alone without depending on all these things. Kasmin bhagavado vijnate sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati iti. All in the ekavachana, singular. By knowing one, I want to know everything. By knowing zero, I want to know infinity. By knowing one, I want to know infinity. You can take like that. So the wonderful question. Very intelligent person. He is not ready to waste any amount of energy in future. He has wasted the energy indefinitely for many births. Now he is very clever and asking the Guru what is the way out. But the answer to that question is not direct. The direct is Dvevidye Veditavye. There are two types of knowledge. What are that? Para and apara. Para is something which is Nishreyasa. Nishreyasa means it is a complete, great fruit. That is, it gives everything. That is Nishreyasa. That is Paravidya, Brahma Vidya. Aparavidya is Abhyudaya. It gives the enhancement. Here, if you have 1 crore, it will give 10 crores. Such kind of actions I will teach you. In these modern days also, you get all the info, how to enhance your business, how to increase your share values, all this somebody will teach you. Something like that. Abhyudaya. After here and hereafter. Iha means on the earth. Para means on the Sargaloka. So iha para. Iha para amutra falabhoga viraga. Iha amutra falabhoga viraga is the renunciation. That is sannyasa. That is what is told in our scriptures like Upanishad, Gita, and Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Everywhere it is told. So para, apara vidya, he explains that all these chapters are already covered for your information. And also about the creation, how the spider takes back the leaves down at the thread and again sucks that takes it back to its own body. Like this creation happens from the Brahman, again it becomes Laya in the Brahman. Just like that. And also we develop the hairs like this, no? Yatha purushat kesha lomani. Kesha is something grown on our head. Loma means something grown on our body. These two are grown from the same person. The same person, it is grown as a part of his body. Like that, from that akshara, tat aksharat sambhavati iha vishwam. The whole universe is developed on that. How this is developed on that one thing is told in the next shloka. Tapasa chiyate brahma. It will first do some tapas. Tapas means jnana itself is a tapas. Shankara says, jnanena utpatti vidignataya bhuto yoni aksharam brahma upachiyate. It desires tadaikshata vahusyam prajayeti. It comes in the Prabhupada, how the Srushti happens. It gives the elaborate picture there. Like that, the Brahman expands. Chiyate means expansion. Swelling actually. Chiyate means swelling. It swells. From that, this, the food happens. The annat prano manas satyam loka karma chakilam. The karma. Without karma, we are not here. Some karma is there, that is why I am here. Why I should be born in Bangalore? Why not in Hassan? Why not in America? All these are decided by the karma. So once this creation happens out of Brahman, everything falls into its place. Everything comes to this place and the Srishti goes on and down till we get this knowledge and come out of this big wheel of samsara. This is what is told in the first Mundaka, first Khanda. Now we are coming to the second Khanda. In second Khanda, what was the first mantra? Tadetat Satyam. Satya is told 3 times in this Upanishad. I had already told you. Satyameva Jayate Nanrutam. It is also told there. That Satya is the aspect of Brahman itself. Here it is telling Tadetat Satyam. Another Satya. This is the lower Satya. What is that lower Satya? The Vedas are guaranteeing some pleasurable lokas, which are less miserable lokas. Not that there is 100% pleasure. There is only 100% pleasure, eternal pleasure in Brahman. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satchidananda Swarupa. It's only in Brahman, eternal bliss. Other than that, it is tinked, stinted with some portion of misery. That is called Ananda Loka. One by one Ananda Loka is explained in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Prajapatir Loka. You can refer to the Taittiriya Upanishad, there it is told. Anyway, so Tadetat Satyam means I now elucidate about the aspects of the karma which leads to the other worlds which are having the better pleasures than this earth. Mantreshu karmani kavayo yanya pasyan tani tretayam bahuda santatani tanyacharata niyatam satyakama yeshavah panta sukrutasya loke. So I am telling you about those fires which were told elaborately in which yuga? Treta Yuga. In the Treta Yuga, the people used to do lot of fire sacrifices. There is a dharma for every yuga, and people who are born in that yuga will follow that kind of dharma which was in that yuga. So in the Treta Yuga, this Upanishad is telling, Tani Veda Vihitani Rushidrushtani Karmani Tretayam Tri Sanyoga Lakshanayam Chalati Tri Sanyoga Lakshanayam Hotru Adharyu Udgatru Prakarayam Adhikarana Bhutayam Bahuda Bahuprakaram Santatani Sampravruttani. In that age, in that yuga, people used to do lot of fire sacrifices. Hotru Advaryu Udgatru. What is this Hotru Advaryu Udgatru? Hotru, there are 3 types of priests in every sacrifices. Hotru is the priest belonging to Rigveda. And the priest of all the gods is Agni itself. Agnimile Purohitam Agnasya Deva Mrutwijam Hotaram. There itself it is told. So, Agnimile Purohitam belongs to Rigveda. In that Rigveda mantra, Agni himself is a Hotru. So, Hotru means somebody belonging to Rigveda. Then Adhvaryu. Adhvaryu belongs to Samveda. He will tell the mantras of Samveda in a musical fashion. The music, the aspect of Sangeeta, all those came from the Samveda itself. The people of the Samvedins used to chant these the mantras in a musical fashion. So the Samavedi will be there, Rigvedi will be there, then Udgatru, Adhvaryu will be there. Adhvaryu belongs to Yajurveda. He will tell the mantras belonging to Yajurveda. So in the Treta Yuga, what is the lakshana of the yajnas? These 3 people used to sit together and perform all the yajnas as prescribed in the Vedas. That is why there is a shloka in the Purana, Kruteya dhyayato Vishnum Tretayam yajate makhaihi dvapare paricharyancha kalau tat harikirtanat. In the Kruta Yuga, there are 4 yugas, the Kruta Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. We are in the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga started somewhere from 3162 BC, something like that, when Krishna left the body. So this Kali Yuga is quite new. Already 3 yugas have already passed away. So in the Kruta Yuga, what the people used to do? People used to do only meditation. Through meditation only, they used to attain everything, whatever they wanted. So people who never spoke, that was a very, the pure part of the creation. And in those days, people used to do only dhyana. Kruto yadhyayate Vishnu. for the sake of getting the highest position, that is Vishnupada, people used to do only meditation. Not all the people. Common people will remain as common. In all the yugas, they will remain worldly only. The people who want aspire something more, they do this. Tretayam yajate makhaihi. In the Treta Yuga, people used to do yajna yagas for the sake of the liberation. For the sake of moksha, what they used to do? Yajna yagas they used to do. Makha means not face. Makha and mukha are different. You can see in this we do the Ramanama Sankirtan in Ekadashi. Kaushika Mukha Maka Samrakshakaram. Many people chant Kaushika Mukha Samrakshakaram. It is not Kaushika Mukha. Kaushika Makha. Kaushika is Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra was doing some yajna, sacrifice. But he had nobody to protect that sacrifice, because there were so many demons, Rakshasas, especially Tataka, Maricha and Subahu. You know how Maricha became deer and then Sita went behind all that. Though this Maricha, Subahu, Tataka were there when Vishwamitra took Rama and Lakshmana to protect his yajna. Then only they went to the Mithila, and then Sita Rama Parinaya happened. So Kaushika Makasam Rakshakaram. Tretayam yajate makhaihi. Through Makha, through yajnas. Dwapare Paricharyancha. In the Dwapara Yuga, when Krishna was born, that time people used to do only the seva to gods in temples, in any place, treating the god as the supreme, and do service, archana. Like a dasa. Then Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanat. In the Kali Yuga, all these things can be achieved just by chanting the name of God. That's why Sri Ramakrishna told Kali Yuga Satyavachana Paripalana Bhagavan Nama Sankirtana. Although we had to study Upanishads and Vedanta, the important thing is, in this iron age, Bhagavan Nama Sankirtana is very, very important. Bhajan Nama Sankirtana should be the pillar of our all sadhanas. Through the name of God, we can achieve all the things that the Upanishad guarantees. So hold on to God first, then start studying the Upanishad, is the message that is given here. So this is the thing that in the mantras of the Veda, that etat satyam mantreshu, in the mantras, all the karmas, all those karmas means all the fire sacrifices that are told, those fire sacrifices people had to do in the Treta Yuga, because that was the only way for the emancipation. Now, even though we do it here for the sake of what? To develop that perseverance, steadfastness, uprightness, truthfulness, non-laziness, and then convert all this energy into sacrificing the phala. Sacrificing the phala there itself, in the process of ahuti itself, then a sort of dissatisfaction towards the worldliness will develop there itself, and we will come out of it and we start doing Hari Kirtana. That we have to keep in our mind when we say that these yajna yagas are also required. And nowadays, we can only gain the knowledge how the people used to do the yajna yagas. Because the kind of yajna yagas that in those days the people used to perform, we cannot perform at all. Very difficult because of so many ingredients and so many kinds of the prayogas that are required, and so many kinds of preparations that are required. We need thorough knowledge of it, otherwise this in this Upanishads itself, it is telling how dangerous if you do not perform it properly. So those aspects, what are the Agnis, how those people used to live, and what are the sacrifices like Chaturmasya, Yatra Agnihotram, Darshapurnamasa, then this Somayaga, what is Somayaga? What is the Anga and Angi of Yajna? That means the primary Yajna and the subordinate Yajna. And how this kind of secondary and primary related to the Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda. The people who advocate Jnana and Karma can go together, they say that let this Jnana be Sheshi and Jnana Karma be Shesha. That means subordinate to the primary thing. The primary is the knowledge, then subordinate will be Karma. This also Shankara denies all those aspects which I wanted to cover today itself. I couldn't do it. We will do it in my next appearance. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.